Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. Right now that I have finally gotten my hands on a half decent sized Odin in 5-star rarity, thanks to the arena, I can do some testing. Now at this point, any single fight or video that I could possibly make probably has already been made by someone. Therefore, well, not just that one, but I have largely decided to ignore most of them and do my own research. And I wanted to maybe not necessarily go champion by champion, but I definitely wanted to grab a couple of snippets of how beneficial are these pre-fight abilities really. So that's why today we're going to be taking a look at how Odin interacts with Silver Surfer. Because Silver Surfer do not only benefits from the aptitude buff that increases the Fury potency, as Silver Surfer has access to two of fairly chunky Fury buffs. His signature ability also interacts with the aptitude itself, boosting it further. Therefore, there should be a quite good synergy where Silver Surfer's signature ability buffs the aptitude buff, which in turn buffs the Fury buffs even further that Silver Surfer is getting. On top of that, Silver Surfer also does extra energy damage per each unique buff that he has in his possession here. And therefore, we're going to go through two different cycles of 6-star and 5-star Silver Surfer in Realm of Legends by himself and with a full synergy team, including Odin's 3 pre-fight buffs. And then we're going to be able to check how many hits each fight took and what is the actual damage increase that we are experiencing. So let's jump straight right here to the corner. Now, I will not show all of the fights in the full, but what you need to know is that I am using exactly the same mastery setup for all 4 of the fights in this video. And what you also need to know that I am trying to use pretty much the same base rotation where I start the fight with heavy attack in order to gain power gain. By the time my power cosmic comes back, I am at 1+ bars of power. I drop my level 1 in order to gain 2 of the Fury buffs. And then from there on out, I basically build up to level 3 to get the aptitude and get armor up buff along the way. And after that, I just spam my level 2s for the most part. Now, I'm not saying I'm perfect Silver Surfer player or anything of the sort, but I play him relatively decently. I actually have used the guy a fair amount in AQ, especially after taking him to rank 3 as a 6-star. As a side note, another thing that will skew the difference, which we need to account for in final results, is the fact that my 6-star Silver Surfer is Sig 180 and my 5-star is Sig 200. So his signature ability is more potent, obviously it's Sig 200, and he gains more potent buffs by like 6% or 4% or something like that. So that will also affect the results. So this first fight, we can see that it's going relatively well, and we're going to be finishing it out at just about 105 hits here. So 105 hits is our benchmark for the first fight. And next fight, we're going to see right now, we're going to be going in with Heimdall, Angela, Magic, Odin. So we're going to be activating all 3 of the Odin's pre-fights, which gives us 3 buffs at start, one of them being aptitude. And then on top of that, we're also going to be getting Fury and Precision buffs from Heimdall himself. And then we're going to, well, I'm just going to get to it. Let's jump in the fight. So I have activated all the buffs. You can see that I have 3 Furies in my base rotation. And I am, in fact, doing quite noticeably more damage at this point. I still need to get to my level 3 here, but we can see that already the guy is at 70% health. So first fight was 105 or 106 hits. I'm about to drop my level 3 here. I actually did make a small mistake. I probably should have charged my heavy attack and get the second stack of power gain, but nobody's perfect. Either way, I'm dropping my level 3 at 40 hit mark, and he's at 61%. That takes 5% of his total health as damage, so that hits for 30k base damage plus all that energy damage. And now at this point, I'm basically building up to my level 2s, going to town. Obviously, I kind of feel that, again, if I had the armor breaks on him at this point, I would be doing even more damage. But I'm hitting decently hard, to be honest. I quite like it. I quite like it as is. So here I land a nice 19k heavy attack. I do get precision active on me. And now I'm going to go in for level 2. Pauses that each hit deals 8k extra damage. And we can see that at one level 2 already dealt a really huge chunk of damage. So I want to rewind that. So this fight finished at, once again, 60, 75, 76 hits. But let's see how much that level 2 did exactly. So he's at 27%. And by the end of the level 2, he's at 8%. So it did 19% of Winter Soldier's health, which is nearly a fifth. So that level 2 hit over 100k. That's fairly decent. Obviously, it's not groundbreaking, but 100k damage on a Silver Surfer from level 2, not too bad. 76. Now, and again, just to have a bit more data, I went back in and did exactly the same thing with my 5-star, used pretty much the same rotations, same mastery setups, and I'm doing the fight here with my 5-star Silver Surfer, and we're gonna see when we get to it, why not? And the 5-star did the fight in 136 hits, I believe it's gonna be at this point. Yeah, 136 hits for the 5-star. So that's like 30 hits more than the 6-star champion did without any synergies. However, this final fight here is going to be a bit more interesting. So again, I'm using exactly the same setup as I did with my 6-star actually. And the only difference here is I accidentally, no, actually rotation's fine. Rotation's perfectly fine here. Still at this point, I'm still making it in time. I had to redo a couple of recordings because I didn't squeeze in exactly the rotation that I did for the rest of the fights. So I wanted the fights to be as similar as I possibly can, so I redid it. And yeah, so here is the 5-star when he's all buffed and jazzed up. Nobody's really too interested in the initial part of the fight here. Wonderful, level 3 damage. Yeah, let's see how much damage that level 2 is about to do here. So let's go in, and I'm gonna go for it, and we can see that level 2 is already here dealing very decent amount of damage as well. It was actually quite comparable, if not just about the same as that 6-star did here. But why so? But here I'm going for the second level 2, and Winter Soldier is down to 9%. At 80 hits, he's down to 9%. And 86 hits, 3%, and now just the job to finish it off. Now, before we do go any further for any analysis, could have done obviously significantly less hits if I had decided to cut my combos short and spam my heavy attacks. That's one thing. Second thing is I'm fully aware that you can also get a full ramp up on Silver Surfer without ever throwing Special 1. You do that by activating heavy attack on the Fury buff and then doing it the same second time after on going for the power gain buff when the third power cosmic becomes available. But that is just not the rotation that I chose to go with this time, and I wanted to keep it consistent. Right, so let's jump back to this camera over here because I have written down some results here. Right, so we had 105 hits with 6-star, no synergies, 76 hits with the 6-star with full synergy team when it comes to Silver Surfer. That is 27.6 damage increase. And that is not all that insane, I think. But it's also a misleading number. And the reason why it is misleading is because everything that we didn't quite have enough time to fully manifest itself. Now, another thing is, again, as I said at the beginning of the video, that signature level is not at 200, and my 5-star has sig 200, so that does definitely play a minor role as well here. If my Silver Surfer was max sig, I believe the damage difference would be slightly higher because his signature ability would boost the rest of the buffs more. But I also believe that the main factor here was that you didn't really quite get long enough to benefit. Really, after that level 3, I only got to drop like one level 2, and that was just about it. The fight was nearly done. So ideally, I would either need a longer fight, which is technically what I got when I used my 5-star. And we can see that with a 5-star champion, here, test, you actually got significantly higher damage increase, because we went from 136 hits to 88 hits with a full synergy team, which is about 35% damage increase. With like a full Odin centric Heimdall, Angelish, whatever team setup. And that number could possibly be even higher if I had brought in my 4-star and redid the exact same thing with my 4-star champion, because then you would have significantly higher uptime with like your max damage ramp up, which is quite noticeably higher than without the setup. But again, it's not like you do these super long fights every day. But as it stands, this is the approximate damage increase that we are going to be looking at for majority of the fights, probably 26% damage increase, because it's not like we are fighting 7, 8, 9, 10, well, million health opponents normally. Now the question is whether all this is worth it. And in generic conditions, definitely not. First of all, if Silver Surfer makes it on your team, that's not quite a common occurrence. Now, I personally do use Silver Surfer for some things here and there, but it's not like he's my regular questing champion. And second of all, dedicate 4 team slots to get 30% damage increase on a champion is, again, not the best idea 99% of the cases. So even though these things are very, very cool and they make for very cool videos, again, it's very important to remember how practical they are. And in this case, it definitely is not practical and will hardly ever come to play. But if you do want to try it out for yourself, this is the damage increase that you can count on. And I hope you guys enjoyed today's video and possibly learned something in today's video. But either way, that is it for now. And yeah, I shall catch you guys next time. See ya. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about